some of this stuff is coming out of Comic Con, as we had mentioned. We had, of course, Marvel is at Comic
Mhm,
Con, and so they had a bunch of their stuff, released a number of trailers. We've been able to see a few of them. They have their whole
mhm.
list about
I think Guardians and
everything coming.
Ant-Man were the ones that we can't technically see, right? I think there were some leaks of those, but we can't see Guardians 3 and
I definitely
Quantumania.
have not seen those, so yeah, I don't think those are presently
Yeah,
available to the
yeah.
public. Um, What I'll just like throw it to you. What, because it's a big list. I don't want to go run down through all the things that are
Mhm,
coming here.
mhm.
Um,
It's a lot. It is a lot.
yeah,
Holy.
but what has you excited? What has you not excited? What stands out? Like what was surprised you? What's notable here?
Sure. So I guess I'll start with what surprised me was a Captain America movie announcement. I was like,
Okay,
say what? Come again? Like,
you didn't expect that?
uh, I didn't. I
Okay,
didn't. I don't know. I just sort of was like, I thought we were done with that. I mean, I
no.
I know we have a new Captain America, but like the series I just did not like so much that I just sort of thought like they were like, "Okay, well, failed attempt. Sorry."
Yeah,
And it's happening. I didn't think it would happen.
in fairness, they don't give up like DC does anyways.
That is that is
Like,
true.
well,
They don't just like reboot it.
yeah.
I mean, I just sort of thought, like, they would just, like, not go forward. Not that they would, like, reboot with a new Captain America, which they're already doing, but you know what I mean? Like, I didn't think they would, like,
Yeah.
reboot the reboot.
The thing
But I
is we're
just
not
sort of, like, thought it wouldn't happen, or he would just, like, be a part of another movie.
it's funny you say that because it feels like we're not moving forward at all. Like we're moving to phase 5 and what the
Yeah,
hell happened in
they
phase 4? Like
they already started announcing phase 6, and I was like, "I'm sorry, did I miss the other phases?" Like,
mhm.
apparently they count phases differently than their, like, large overarching stories because they were like,
Right.
"Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like with like the end or like the beginning, I can't remember what they said, but like the end or the beginning of phase 6, we're like wrapping up the second large story arc of the multiverse." And I was like, "Wait, what? I thought the entirety up to Avengers Endgame of that storytelling was phase 1 of
Mm.
Marvel."
Oh no. Yeah,
And
so
I
they
was just
always
like, what are the phases? What are the delineations? I've like missed this."
Yeah, if phases were more in like see when it was more clear before because it was more like okay, in the first phase you're going to have a Hulk and an Iron Man and a Thor and a Captain America movie. Phase 2 is going to be the sequels to those. So
Mm,
it's Captain America 2 and Thor 2 and then Iron Man 2 and so it made more sense. So phase 3 then
got it.
so that but now it's like we don't have the
I don't even know.
sequels. They're just
No,
like new movies and none of them are leading anywhere.
right.
They say they are
Are
and
the
they pretend
TV
like they
are the
are, but they're
TV
not.
shows in there? Are the
The
TV
TV
shows, like,
shows
part of
are
the
in there,
phase?
yes. Yes, the TV shows are in the phases too. Yes.
Well, gee, it like, do they matter or don't they matter? I don't understand.
They don't really matter. They don't really
I
matter.
yeah.
It's just like a way to sort of explain the next chunk. So when we can announce the next chunk of
Mhm,
content coming, our roadmap. Here's our next
mhm,
phase. It's a big kind of breakdown.
yeah,
But it did make sense when it was like, again, we feel like we would progress from phase to phase. So like, but
mhm. Yeah,
I don't know.
I just don't even know where the phases are, like, delineated
Because I guess,
anymore.
if we have like phase 4 has the first Shang-Chi movie, phase 5 should have Shang-Chi 2, right?
Well, but,
So
like, so if phase 3 was phase 3, shouldn't, like, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 be in phase 3?
no, because I believe Guardians, the first one, started in phase 2.
And don't confuse me by being like 1, 2, 3, and then you got one,
Well,
two,
but
threes
they're
elsewhere.
I mean,
You know what I'm
ultimately the
saying?
phases, yeah,
Just like
ultimately the
be
phases
better.
don't
Just
matter for the
and
audience.
like
It shouldn't matter because the story should be clear enough. You don't have to worry about phases.
right,
It's just like
right.
where things are going and you understand the story arcs that are happening and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there aren't any story arcs
So,
happening. Like all they're doing is throwing out questions and not really answers. And I
yeah.
don't think they have plans for these answers,
I have
honestly.
no idea. But
So,
apparently, like the other big surprise to me, which I'm looking forward to in a theoretical sense. So phase 6, they announced it because we're already like looking ahead to 2024, 2025.
mhm.
We're gonna have a Fantastic Four. Yeah. At least you can't make a worse movie than what you've already made. So I mean,
You watch. You watch it happen.
I think. But we're also getting 2 Avengers movies, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, which is a very specific title, and I somehow don't like it, and Avengers: Secret Wars, which is coming both of those are coming out in 2025. And I like this theoretically just because I wanna like, answer the question, "Who are the Avengers now?" Like, I want them to,
Right.
like, nail it down in these movies so I can be like, "I see. These are the Avengers."
Mhm. Yeah.
That's, like, literally the only question I wanna know. I don't even know what the storyline is happening. I have no interest. I just wanna know who are the Avengers now.
Yeah.
Who do, like, you see as the Avengers? Please nail it down for me.
Yeah. Who are the Avengers? What is their threat we're working towards? We're
Right,
dealing
and
with.
which I mean, Kang
So obviously
is
with Kang.
obviously yeah,
Yep. But then Secret Wars.
Wars,
Yeah, that's
which which I feel is more fitting of an Avengers title because they're more vague.
well,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
But I mean, so
Like
it's a comic book
Infinity War and
storyline.
Endgame were, like, very
Yeah.
just, like, big, large, they don't say, like, "Hey, we're fighting Thanos over here," like, it wasn't like
Mhm.
Avengers fighting Thanos, that wasn't the title.
Yeah. So it's interesting thing is Secret Wars. I feel like that one I don't know. I feel like they're setting the threads they've dropped for the Kang Dynasty and for Secret Wars. Because Secret Wars,
Mhm,
people generally like the comic book story for that, I believe. But
mhm,
I feel like it's by the time these movies roll around, unless they do something different here, there's not going to be a lot of people won't have picked up the threads. The average audience member is not
mhm,
going to be like, "Oh yeah, this and clearly that's
right,
this leading to that, and that's why this is happening." So
right,
I don't know. Um, Interesting. It's interesting. We have to wait to 2024, 2025 for Fantastic Four. That's interesting to
mhm,
me because it seemed like when they got the rights back, you beyond that, it's like one of the
mm,
originals. Um, and
it's
people
been such a
like
bomb,
Fantastic
though.
Four. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
people are cautious. I mean, I hope it means good things because I seriously don't think you can make a worse Fantastic Four, but prove me wrong, hold my beer, I
And
don't know.
is it crazy that there's no X-Men? We're to
No, because 'cause they're having
2025
X-Men 'cause
and
they're
no
they're having
X-Men.
X-Men 97. So
Well,
they're that's their
no,
X-Men piece right now.
that's not no.
I mean, I
So
don't think it is, but, like, they have an X-Men piece, so
someone was mentioning the other day that X-Men was Marvel's biggest property. Like over the entirety of Marvel Comics, it's X-Men and Spider-Man. And really
mhm,
nothing else because of the number of books that there were for X-Men and how well they sold. We have this got this thing that was on the very top. And now we have
mhm,
Marvel and there's just not a word from it. They're too busy bringing out Ironheart and Ms.
mhm,
Marvel recreations and not
mhm.
the X-Men.
I know.
Like priorities, people.
Missed
Priorities.
opportunities. Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I don't know. You know, I guess I can't talk because I haven't seen a Marvel movie in a while.
Mhm.
Uh, so, but it's just in
I
terms of
will
me being excited or for whatever. I still think they have a mess on their hands.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, of what I did get to watch, I was really excited visually by Black Panther Wakanda Forever. The visuals in that look stunning.
It has a
Just
nice trailer, huh?
gorgeous. Absolutely
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Mhm.
I
I
mean,
agree.
I'm I'm excited. I'm intrigued like who puts on Black Panther suit. Like it seems very unclear. I think it's still like everybody knows it's going to be Shuri, but it was just like a great lead up
Okay.
to like the end with like the Black Panther suit. It was just all visually stunning. It looked amazing. There were some clearly like amazing emotional performances. I felt the absence of Chadwick Boseman, but in sort of like a beautiful, heartbreaking way that leads itself to a new story. So I don't know. The whole thing felt like kind of a haunting, beautiful tribute in a way.
Sure. I um I think if I was Marvel, which I'm clearly not, I would have probably just given it some time and then recast Black Panther and not done the story making the character die and stuff like that. I think that's what,
Mm,
you know,
sure.
um, because it really throws a wrench in things. And if you're, but now being you went this path, I
Hmm.
wouldn't replace him. Being you went this path, I would set it up to you don't have a new Black Panther.
Mm.
It
Do you have
becomes
a
an
new hero, you
icon.
think?
Yeah, it just there's
Sure.
no because to me this movie Wakanda Forever, the whole trailer has nothing. It shows nothing with Black Panther because he's not there, and it looks great. It looks really interesting. There
Hmm.
are other characters there that they've created and other characters they can work on more, and then clearly dealing with the loss of a leader and all this stuff. Like it'd be interesting to see what they do and go forward, and we don't need another Black Panther would be my
Hmm.
argument. You don't need it and Wakanda can still be interesting, and Wakanda can still play a role in the world.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that's what I would do, being they took this path,
Sure.
but they won't. So
Well,
you
and
know
I wonder if the movie is going to be less focused on finding like a replacement or who's going to be the new Black Panther, being that we only in the very final second see just like an arm. You know what I
yeah.
mean? We just see like the claw. And
Hmm.
I just sort of wonder if like maybe they are leaning in that direction and most of the movie isn't going to be focused on finding a replacement. It's going to be just like dealing with how do we go forward
Right.
and dealing with like the loss of, you know, T'Challa slash Chadwick Boseman,
Yep.
um, in a sense. And then maybe we just get like the final minutes. It's like, up there it is. Because
See,
we
and
clearly are. It's clearly
yeah.
happening. But
Right.
I would
And
I would
that's
be more
why
interested in a movie that didn't focus too heavily on it, especially
yep.
early.
Yeah, I would be, to me it'd be interesting to see how the nation moves on without him and going through those struggles and then finding themselves and then being able to use and hold up Black Panther as a more of a mythical figure to aspire to
Symbol.
be, yeah, a symbol, not
Hmm.
it'd be the same
A
thing with
living
Captain
being.
America, in a way, but
Yeah.
um because and I'm interested because they're bringing in Namor then. So Namor seems to be the threat or
Hmm.
what they have a conflict with. It's very weird that he's like Aztec now, but it looks interesting,
Hmm.
nonetheless. And Namor is one that I believe in the comics traditionally was considered one of the earliest mutants. So we'll
Mm.
see if they consider him that, because they clearly didn't. They could have done this with Scarlet Witch. They didn't.
Mhm.
They did it with a character that's not a mutant. I won't
Mhm.
spoil that for people that haven't seen it or whatever, but
Mhm.
um, yeah. So I think the trailer is well put together. I think there is
Mhm.
like a proper drama. I think it does look really nice. We're just talking about all the effects they're throwing everywhere. I felt emotion in the trailer, and I felt the, um,
Mhm.
effects looked good,
Mhm.
and I'm excited to see what happens with Namor. I definitely am more
Mhm.
excited, sadly, for this movie than the first Black Panther,
Mm.
because I
Okay.
really didn't care for that one very much, and this to me looks far more interesting. So,
Yeah, like I said, visually this looks stunning, and like you said, I felt a very clear like range of emotions. So,
mhm,
excellent.
yep. Um, the She-Hulk, we got a She-Hulk trailer, another
S-
one. They had a chance to tweak some effects that were given some, flack in the last one.
Mhm.
Do you have any changed views or anything on this?
I don't. I'm still getting whiplash. I'm still like half of me is really excited about this because sometimes the effects really just nail it, and then there were still some pieces where I was like, God, her face looks weird there, or like something's happening with an expression, and it's like watery clay. It's just not translating into a face.
Yep.
Um, so it's still really difficult. And then on the other hand, like the storyline seems pretty on par. Like for the cartoon, what I remember, like her attitude, like especially, storming out on the red carpet, being like, ugh, I'm like awesome. Like the confidence is exactly what I remember from the cartoon of just being like, yeah, I'm amazing as She-Hulk. Like I'm killing it. I look great. Like there's no sense of like Jennifer Lawrence's mystique where she's like, oh, like the way I naturally look is
Mm,
hideous and I have to hide it all the time.
right.
You know, we just have here like very like here I am, here's She-Hulk, like strutting down the red carpet in my dress and my green skin, loving it. Um, so that's very like on par, but I'm still not understanding where like Blonsky comes in and why she's representing him, and it still feels like disjointed that this is like a storyline for
Mm.
some reason. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like I'm just not getting where
Well, I
like
mean,
this is
it could feel random, I suppose, but at the same
it
time, it's gonna be like, well, we're gonna have the superpower person represent the superpower person.
right,
You
but
know?
like why are we repping Blonsky? Like I get it. She could but like
Yeah, I don't
she could
know.
just refuse the case. Like just don't do it. Like she clearly states she has a conflict of interest. Like
Yeah,
he tried to kill her cousin, so like I
depends on her
like you don't
place in
need
the
to take
firm.
it.
If it's like, well, you really want to be
But
part
if
of this
she's
firm, and
but if she's so confident and she's like, I'm the She-Hulk, like I'm a celebrity, she doesn't have to do it.
yeah,
Like
I
I'm
feel like
sure
she'll
there are a
grow into
million
that though.
firms.
I bet it's not right
I
away.
I
But
guess, but it still feels
yeah,
like she's like, "Oh, everybody's so interested because I'm repping him," and it's like, you don't have to. I get it. It creates conflict. Like it's a problem, but
yeah,
it feels a little like ham-handed to just like ram that in there.
yep, yep.
So whiplash,
Yeah.
whiplash. I don't know. I don't know. Could go either way.
Yeah, I I feel the same in terms of Whiplash, and or like this trailer in ways made me more excited, and in other ways made me less excited.
Hmm.
Clearly more excited because of what we saw at the end. I mean, the rumor was that Daredevil was going to be in this, and or at the end of the trailer, looks like Daredevil's going to be in it. So that's
Yes,
exciting.
and great news out of Comic Con. We got confirmation of a show.
Yeah. We're gonna have Daredevil 18 episodes, I think. Daredevil
Mm-hmm.
Born Again in 2024, spring of 2024. So
Mm-hmm.
and he'll probably show up in other places, he's gonna show up in Echo, it's
Right.
be around. So
They were
that's
very
fun.
careful in the announcement saying, like, "We have Charlie Cox and we have Vincent D'Onofrio." We did not
Yeah,
get confirmation of anybody else at this point.
yep. So I've read Born Again, and a lot of that stuff is in the Daredevil series already. So it's very
Mhm.
interesting to me that it's Daredevil Born Again, kind of, I don't
I
know,
mean, they
in
could
name
just be taking
only.
the title right, they could just
Yeah,
be taking the title
which,
because it's
like,
convenient to
really?
be like,
That's a
"Up, born
classic
again."
storyline. Yeah,
Right.
right. So, I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll see. it's happening, so that's funny anyways. It'll be something I have to I don't know. I wish I could buy the shows I want. I don't wanna
Mhm.
subscribe. Um, the other thing about the She-Hulk trailer, though,
Mhm.
that made me feel worse about it is, the like, I like the confidence stuff. I think the visuals are a little bit better, but they
Mhm.
can't why eh, when I was started My Hero Academia, I know it's like, "Oh, that's random." The
Okay.
kid in there struggles a lot. And part of the amazing thing about his journey is how he isn't much of anything and has to work so hard to build himself up to something, to face
Mhm.
all these challenges. That's a traditional story where your
Mhm.
protagonist has to overcome many obstacles in order to become something great, to achieve something.
Mhm.
And this trailer opens up basically with saying, "Hey, I'm She-Hulk, and I'm better at the Hulk than everything, by the way. So we
Yeah.
can't just have She-Hulk be cool. We have to show that She-Hulk is cool at the expense of the Hulk. So the
Yes.
Hulk has to look like a fool and an idiot. He's worked at this for a long time to get his anger under
Mhm.
control. He's overcome challenges to be able to do what he is, do what he does. And she's like, "No, I'm just better at it all, and you're kind of a sucker." And this
Yeah.
keeps happening over and over, and it's like, why can't she struggle? It's like it's normal. Someone Peter Parker discovers his powers for their first time, and he has trouble jumping off a roof and swinging and falling, and all these. Like, you
Mhm.
overcome that, like sticking to things you don't mean to stick to. You don't have to
Mhm.
make fun of someone else to do that. Like you're the one that has to overcome the challenge.
Sure. So I think these are actually two separate issues.
Okay,
Because from watching the cartoon, struggling is never Jennifer Walters' problem. It's overconfidence, and she just is like, "Oh, I'm a natural at this," so she, like, jumps into things, and then it's like,
sure.
"Oh, shit." So, like, that actually felt right to me, but I agree with you that I didn't like that we had to make her cool at the expense of the Hulk. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, like,
Right.
in the cartoon, it's very just like, "Oh, I got these powers, like, I'm a little bit better at controlling it than my cousin Bruce, like, move on." Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? Because that's not her story, where, like, the Hulk story is like, "I have no control, like, what am I doing?" And
Yeah.
that's his very unique struggle with it. Her struggle is like, "I started off, like, being thinking, 'Oh my god, I'm so good at all of this,' and so that
Yep.
gets me into trouble." But it's really like a half second spent on like, "Oh, I'm just, like, naturally better than Bruce at being the Hulk." So you don't feel like this is sort of dragging it out, like this whole intro with, like, the banter back and forth and him being like, "Let me teach you," and she's like, "Got it." Like, it
Yep.
does feel like, "Oh, do we really have to do that?" Like, I like the Hulk. Do we have to, like,
Mhm.
diminish everything about him
Right.
to set up this journey for her? I don't think we did.
Right. I agree. That's yeah. It's two separate issues that make sense. It easily could have become a story beat where it turns into a positive thing. Like, oh, hey, you've got this. We don't need to without like making him look stupid.
Right,
And then he can
right,
also like if you want to incorporate Hulk more into the story, it could still be
right,
a thing where like he has to like he can has to deal with and reconcile like wow, how much
right,
easier, like I had to struggle with this, this was a tough
right.
thing. It's not
Well,
about him, so we don't need to go into that, but it could be something
right,
for him later.
right. It could have been a really interesting tension, and I felt like they went
Comedy.
comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like it because
Mhm.
I agree, like, it could have been a really interesting, like, juxtaposition of, like, "Man, you are really nailing this," and at first it's, like, great, and then he's like, "Oh, now I'm kinda struggling with the fact that you're really good at this," but then she's like, "Oh, I thought I was really good at this, but actually, like, something happened," where, like, halfway through the trailer, it does, show him being like, "You're a hero now, these are things you have to deal with." It's like, "Oh, he could be there for the advice and be there for,
Yep.
like, the things that she doesn't know how to handle, but thought she did, but she doesn't."
Yep.